Welcome to Dodgers Dogs. Casey Porter here, joined by Coach Holt, as I am each and every Sunday. We already have a wonderful lobby waiting on us to talk some great Dodgers baseball. Coach, I was under the weather last week. Haven't felt good all week, so I didn't get a chance to talk to you. Certainly missed that, so welcome back in, Coach.
Oh, it's great to be here, Case. I hope you're feeling better. I know there's a lot of it going around, a lot of sickness this time of year, and a lot of people dealing with that. And I'm glad to hear you're on the mend, doing better.
All right, Coach, there has been a whole bunch that's happened since we've talked to you last. Obviously, Shoy Otani, 8 days ago, signed. Then you have the Tyler Glasnow, Manuel Margot trade that sent away Ryan Pepiot, Johnny DeLuca. You still have Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the horizon. You have possibly trade pieces like Dylan Cease out there. Doesn't look like Corbin Burns is likely to get dealt this year, so there's a lot to talk about. Just tell us where you're at right now as a Dodgers fan, Coach.
Give me Randy Rosarina. Is that still on the table?
Yeah.
I haven't.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's a tremendous hitter. He's a great hitter. I'm getting like all the Dodger fans, now I'm getting picky, man. I want it all now. So if you can give me Randy Rosarina. No, when I was at a football game when the news on Shohei broke. A bunch of friends of mine watching a state championship game here in Oklahoma, in Edmond, and that came across. My first thought as a fan, I was mad because I thought $700 million, we can't afford to pay anybody else. Then of course that's just the initial shock of it, and then you start hearing, about the money being how it's going to be dispersed. That they do have the availability. Of course, I knew Dodgers is not hurting for money. That's not the case, but I thought, man, that's a whole lot to put on one guy. Hopefully he can fill the team. But the way that's coming in, to hear that was his idea. It was Ohtani's idea to defer that money. That is awesome. And we're still in the running for some big time names. And oh my gosh, look at that. I mean, lineup at the top of that lineup. Look what you got. And if you could get anybody else to chip in there, it's nice to get Glasnow, a starter. Hopefully, if he stays healthy. When he's healthy, he's been really good. I mean, in his entire career, he's a power pitcher, so that's a good pickup. And I guess how you say the guy's last name, Margot.
Yeah, Manuel Margot.
Manuel Margot. I mean, here's a really good defender, really great defender. And he hadn't quite hit what they thought he would when he's drafted, but I think I looked it up today just so I wouldn't sound too stupid, which is hard for me sometimes. I think he's a 255 career hitter. Usually around 250, 260, pop up 270 in there. So, but he's a right-handed hitter and a great outfielder. So that gives you a little help there for James Outman if you want to go that route with a platoon situation. So I like obviously the Ohtani deal is earth-shattering. Could be life-changing for the Dodgers. And I know we'll get into this later. I know how you feel about the prospects that we're going to have to give up, and we've already given up two really good ones. So, it's obvious what we've talked about way back early, and it's no secret here. There's nothing earth-shattering here. The Dodgers are winning now. They're playing to win now.
No doubt.
They've made the decision. Yes, we love our young guys, and we'll pick and choose where to put them in when we can. But we're going for it now. So as a Dodger fan, I love it. That's what we do. It's what you've talked about that as fans. That's the way it is, and that's the way it is every year. The bad part is you lose some great prospects and there's a lot of unknowns, but there's always unknowns, Case. There's unknowns in our life, mine and your life, everybody's life on the face of the earth. There's always an unknown every day. So, I trust the Dodgers brass and management people to making decisions based on what they think is best. And, it's been great. The minor league system is the best, and I'm just going to say it. I think it's the best in Major League Baseball, has been for years. And it's, again, nothing earth-shattering there. And the management system, I think they've made some outstanding moves. I'm gonna trust them that what they're doing. What I can see with my own two eyes, being an idiot sitting here in Stillwater, Oklahoma, they're playing to win now, and that's the way we want it.
Absolutely, that's exactly what you want them to do. No doubt about that. And super excited for Ryan Pepiot. I've had a chance to communicate with him and both Johnny DeLuca. They are two of my favorites. Was in tight with both of them. They are both just great dudes. And so here's the deal. I tweeted out today, and I've actually talked to several of the Dodgers players just today about this. It's a blessing and a curse to be a Dodgers prospect. The blessing is you're going to get the greatest instruction, you're going to get the greatest facilities, you're going to get the greatest coaches, you're going to get the greatest technology and information and all that. That's all a blessing. But the curse is because the instruction and the instructional system and the developmental system in the Dodgers is so elite, Coach, every single prospect buys in. There are no bad apples. The culture is tremendous. So by the time you hit AA, everybody's bought in. Everybody has maximized their value, and that's the blessing in it. But the curse in it is then you have all these guys that you have more guys available than you actually have spots to give to at the major league level. That becomes the curse. So Ryan Pepio, Johnny DeLuca, I think sometimes people think that, hey, you get traded away, you're sad. Yeah, you miss your boys. You know, I mean, Johnny DeLuca, he's a Southern California boy, and hey, he was one of the most popular guys. He was a really laid-back, chilled dude. He would go surfing with Nick Frasso. He'd go surfing with Nick Nastrini, who, of course, had got traded away to the Chicago White Sox. So he was one of the popular dudes in the system. So he's going to miss his boys, no doubt about it. Ryan Pepio has been in the system forever. He's been one of the top prospects. He's one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet, right? I mean, everybody likes Ryan Pepio. So having said that, they are going to miss all their teammates they grew up in the system with. I assure you, when a Dodgers prospect gets traded, they are fired up about it. And it's not that they don't want to pitch for the Dodgers. They would prefer to do what Bobby Miller did, what Gavin Lux has done, what James Outman has done, Will Smith, and come up and be a Dodger at the major league level. But they're also realistic, realizing, God, we got dude after dude after dude after dude. I could go over here, have a major league career with a lot more playing time, a lot more runway, a lot less stress in the sense that if I don't perform this one game, I might go back to AAA, and I could become a major leaguer, and that trumps any kind of allegiance. You know, Johnny DeLuca grew up a Dodgers fan. That trumps any allegiance, getting the chance to have a major league career and runway at that. So Ryan Pepio, Johnny DeLuca, they're super pumped about this. I'm super pumped about it for them. And also, as I've chewed on this, the Dodgers, they have the depth, I think, to keep Tyler Glasnow healthy, which I think if he becomes that ace, it makes the whole thing worth it.
No, there's no doubt about it. I mean, that's already been proven. I agree with you on Pippiot and DeLuca. There's another thing. They got to look over and say, I've got a chance, you know, not they were said outwardly, but deep down they know they've been trained for this. And Peppiot's already stepped up on the level with the Dodgers when it, like I've mentioned several times, when it was still a pity race, those guys were pitching. You know, everybody wants to talk about the 14.5 game lead they won by. It wasn't that way when those young guys came in to pitch. They pitched under pressure. He's one of them. Those guys are well prepared. Like you said, Case, the time they get to AA level of the Dodgers organization, they've already bought in. The ones that didn't buy in aren't there anymore. They've either weeded themselves out, the Dodgers have somehow moved them out of the way. So the time they get to the AA, by the way, before I forget, thank God Henny's back, and thank God he's cancer-free.
No
what
doubt.
a great news this week for the Dodgers and Scott Hennessy. That's great news. But the main thing is that he's healthy and cancer-free. That's number one. So we're glad to hear that. We're glad Henny is doing well. But they get to AA level, they're ready to roll.
Yeah.
And they, like you said, they've already bought in at that time. So it's exciting for those kids. You hate to see them go. But their own teammates are going to feel the same. They're like, hey, that dude's got a chance, you know. The good thing about spring training there, Milwaukee's right there in the Phoenix area too, Sam. So they can hang out together during spring training, still do their thing, and get their feet wet, and they'll both have a chance to play. I assume DeLuca will get a chance to play since we've gotten
every day, Coach.
We got the other center fielder over here, you know, with us. So that's great for those young people. And like we've said before, Case, it could be the other way. I was thinking about today when I was driving back from Branson, by the way. If you ever want to see 6.5 million lights, go to Silver Dollar City.
Awesome.
But anyway, that was awesome. Melissa and I just got back from there. But thinking about today, the other side of that is the Dodgers minor league system could be so crappy if they have no leverage. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Maybe they're good on the big league level, whatever, but you have no prospects. Nobody wants anybody you got. So you don't have that. So that's another way of looking at that we're fortunate. I'm talking about as a Dodger fan.
Yes.
That we're fortunate that we have that luxury of having great training, great prospects, and a great organization that prepares these young men for the next level, and that we have them. And you hate to see them go, but it's kind of like when you send your kids off to college. You know, it's sad, but you know they're going where they need to go and what's best for them. So, you know, at least we don't have it the other way. But your minor league system is so bad that nobody wants anybody you got. So. you're just sitting there stuck, and you have to make, you got to trade something else. You got to trade somebody on the big league level, or you just don't get them, and you flounder. So Dodgers aren't going to flounder anytime soon, and it's exciting time right now. Like I said, I'm getting greedy now, Case. I want them all. Give me Randy. I want Randy in that lineup too, and give me another pitcher. I know we probably won't get.
Yeah, no doubt.
And thank God that Ohtani, from all reports, is an outstanding person, young man, great teammate, and for that to be his idea to defer that money, no matter which team he went to, whether it's the Dodgers or the whoever, Toronto, whoever, they had an opportunity there. He was making it. I want to win. It's like the Spurs used to do, but all those Duncan, all those guys took a lot less money than the Stars are getting because they wanted to win. They won, so they could have money freed up to go get good players. So for him, his agent, to have that, I thought that said a lot. But like I said, first day I was ticked. $700 million, because I'd heard around the $500 million if he's a pitcher and a hitter. I think last summer the number was $550 or something. If he's both, if he's just one, if he couldn't pitch, it'd be like $450 or something.
Yeah.
700 was thrown out there, but evidently they threw it out to several other teams, and the Dodgers, there's only one willing enough to pay that. So thank God for us. I'm excited about it. Can't wait to see him. I've already seen him in a Dodger uniform in pictures and videos, so that's awesome already.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see him swing a stick.
Yeah, Dodgers Nation put out a video on Twitter today of him just warming up, and it got like 4 million views. I mean, all of our live streams have just jumped. Everybody's, not just this one. It's been fantastic. I said it from the very beginning. I said a couple of things about Ohtani. One is whatever you pay him, he's going to bring back to you plus some.
Yep, absolutely.
It takes money to make money. You're going to have that Japan market, the international market, just the appeal, the jersey sales, everything else. And I know the story pretty much behind why Oklahoma City has to change their name now. I'm going to leave it at that. I can't really go into detail as far as what that goes, but we're all talking about.
Come on, man, tell us.
Tell us. Maybe someday later, but I do have information I have some information that is off the record, not off the record, but I don't want to screw that up. I'm not a scoop type of guy. I'm more of a tape
type of guy. Just bring back the 89ers name. I'll just say that.
Bring it back to the 89ers.
Bring back the 89ers. I love it.
So the money part of it made total sense to me, because you're going to make money off of him. And then I also said, the first thing I said on my Saturday show when I was losing my mind excited, I don't know if you've seen that or not, Coach, about getting Shoy Otani, was that he was going to be your lead recruiter. No doubt about it. Everybody's going to want to play with Shoy Otani. Everybody is going to see now that the Dodgers are all in and they're going to win not one World Series, not two. If they do this right, I'm telling you, man, they're going to win 4 or 5 if they just don't stop short, right? If they go get the left fielder, go get the Yamamoto, of which, by the way, John Heyman, we have some breaking news here, Coach. We're not real big on breaking news here because I think agents and people like that leak stuff that's not necessarily accurate to use people to get a narrative to favor them. So I don't like to play that game. I don't like to be a part of that game. I get information all the time from people that I just say, no thanks. I don't want to be a part of that. I know the process here, and I just simply don't do it. So, and plus, me, Coach, we're coaches. I would rather people trust me, that they can come to me and tell me something, than think I'm just going to go run off and be a scoop guy, right?
Yep.
So,
You're right.
Having said that, I'm not big on scoop. But John Heyman just came out and said Yanks meeting today, which is now ended, was requested by Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Now, here is the big deal about that. I think I was wrong. I'm going to say this. I think the Dodgers, they may have known something. I think I need to back up and apologize probably, because I think the reason why you couldn't go all in on a Randy Arozarena is, right? I said this on the last show. Okay. You don't have enough prospect capital to go for a number one starting pitcher in a trade and also an all-star type left fielder in a trade. You can do one trade for a left fielder or one trade for a pitcher. You don't have enough to trade for both. Does it make sense? Gotcha. So one of them has to be a free agent. One of them has to be in a trade scenario. So I was thinking, okay, Yamamoto signs, then you go trade for a Arozarena. Now you got both guys, and you've gotten rid of some of prospect capital that need, like a Landon Knack, that need a path. Well, now that Yamamoto, it looks like he's probably favoring the Yankees. Now you may need that prospect capital to go get a Dylan Cease.
Yes.
Right? And the Dodgers, I think, knew this. So let me back up for my last comments on that and say I was absolutely wrong. And that's probably most likely why you have to hold on to these guys at this point. I could be wrong on all of it too, but that's just kind of where I'm at right now.
And see, and us as Dodger fans, we could never. There's no reason for us to be mad. You can never be mad at the Dodgers. They're all in on trying to get Yamamoto. There's no doubt about it. They've got Ohtani and Freddie and Mookie meeting there, with the dadgum guy. They've got brought all the big dogs in there trying to meet him. So they're doing everything they can, kind of like the Cardinals did several years ago with the guy they lost. They had a big time star there that they lost because they offered the same thing. But anyway, the point being, Yamamoto, the Dodgers are in on him, but it's like you can't. I know I'm greedy. I already said I'm greedy, but you're not going to get both of them. You could, like you said, do a trade and a free agency, but let's go. If you can get, I did see today, like you said, Dylan Cease is still on the list. It's still a possibility. Yeah. It's not off the board yet. And like you said, I think it's obvious that Ohtani is going to be a great recruiter for try to get.
Already has been.
Can you get Mike Trout over and play left? Is that something we could throw out
if
there?
you want him? If you want that contract with the injuries, with the injured past.
Oh, you're right. No, I love the guy, but way too many injuries there. Great talent. It's kind of a sad deal. We hadn't seen him. It's probably his best. So, but anyway, no, that's great. CC, if we can get him, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so Yamamoto, it looks like he's probably favoring the Yankees at this point.
Right.
I still think I've said the Dodgers need a left fielder. Let's go over some right now. I think the guy that the Dodgers, if they don't go after like an Arozarena, by the way, Gurriel, the guy that we favored in free agency coach, he got signed by the D-backs today. Hey, man, the D-backs are legit. If the Dodgers and the D-backs faced off today, even with Shoy Otani and Tyler Glasnow in a 5-game series, I promise you, matter of fact, I did a poll on my Twitter, and the poll right now is 67-32 in favor that most Dodgers fans think that the Dodgers would win a 5-game series. But I guarantee you right now, with no Shohei Otani pitching and Tyler Glasnow hasn't had success in the playoffs, I promise you Dodgers fans would be sweating. Well, because that D-backs team's legit. I don't say that to say that the Dodgers aren't great. Man, congratulations to the D-backs. And, Coach, I think this only makes the Dodgers better because they're going to have to continue to stay all bought in, and they're going to have to continue like they did last year. They can't go through lulls where they're just kind of just going through the motions.
Well, we know it's Major League Baseball. It can change. Everybody thought the Padres were the world beaters last year, too. Go back a year. The Padres were, that's the greatest team ever. Look at that lineup. And kind of way we think of the D-backs now. The D-backs had a great deal. They got in the World Series, but they got beat also. They didn't win. But they're an outstanding team. I know we talked about them before the Dodgers even played them.
Yeah.
If they've got an outstanding team, they proved it. The thing about the beautiful thing about baseball, whether it's on our level case in high school or the major league level, you got to do it again. Nobody gives a crap.
Nobody cares.
That's wonderful. Are the Rangers the favorite to win it again? Probably not.
Yeah.
But they won it this year and did a great job, and they got a Hall of Fame manager, and they got great players, and they know how to get it done.
And they might have Clayton Kershaw.
They might get Clayton Kershaw. So, but if I don't know, haven't looked at what the odds are for winning it next year. Maybe they are the top pick, but they usually aren't. So you never know it like that. And the D-backs do have a lot going for them. I love watching them play. To be honest with you, if I wasn't a Ranger fan, I'd been pulling for them. Outside the Dodgers, I go Rangers. So then the Cardinals after that, one down the line. But anyway, so those things can change. Would some people might favor the Diamondbacks because of recent history? Yes, you got in the World Series and we didn't. But you know what? You didn't win either. So and next year's a new year. So I'd go along with the rest of our Dodger buddies and say the Dodgers will win a 5-game series there.
So
I don't like 3-game series anyway, but of course they spanked us in 3 games. But anyway, I think we'll win a 5.
Yeah. So super excited having D-Mac on from Dodgers Nation, Doug McCain tomorrow. We're going to actually record. He's kind of had what I've had. He's had a head cold. I think that's probably why he didn't go super live. We recorded a show so he could breathe. I'm telling you, man, this stuff is pretty bad. So going to have him on, and then also going to have some other people on. This with Cody Snavely, going to have him on as well. Friday night also had special guest Clint Pasillas on from Dodgers Nation. You can go back and check that out. So kind of cross-pollinating between Dodgers sites as everything is is super exciting right now. Yep. So outfield wise, if the Dodgers, I think you have Margot. He is going to have to platoon. When you look at his splits, I think he's definitely a platoon guy. Yep. So unless Chris Taylor is going to be your everyday outfielder, which I think we can all agree, Chris Taylor's biggest value to this team is being a guy that can play anywhere in the field. So I think he loses value if you stick him just at one spot. So I still think if you go get a left fielder, here are some names, and here are some really interesting names to me. Lane Thomas of the Nats, I think he would be of course, he'd be a Rosarina type pickup as far as prospect capital. He still has 2 years of club control, wonderful player. You got Jeff McNeil, he's 3 years, $41.7, $41 million, and club option in 2027. Max Kepler, Anthony Santander, who the Orioles are just loaded in the outfield. He reaches arbitration in 2024. He's been kind of that up and down guy. You'd be buying him high right now. Dylan Carson would be another guy that you could look at, and then some more guys. Let me go through my list of guys that were also brought up, but not by me. Give me just a second here. Yeah. Well, let's move on from that. Okay, but out of that list, Coach, do you have any that stick out to you as far as, and in the lobby too, do you have any of those guys that stick out to you the most that if you're the Dodgers, you would go get?
No, I mean, not to me as a fan. Like I said, I'll trust the brain trust. The people are a lot smarter than me, get paid a lot more money than me to make those decisions. To get, obviously you have to get a young player good defensively that, 260, 70 hitter. I mean, that'd be great. Even think 255, like we we're talking about with Margot. But, I don't have really a preference right there. You need somebody who can play every day. I mean, I guess you can get platoon, but I'm like you. I think Taylor's more valuable because he can play everywhere. You don't want to put him in one spot. And Kike Hernandez was the same way. The kind of guys that can play some other positions. So I don't really have a preference there on any of those guys. Just get us one and let's go. Again, here we are again. Our strength is there. Just get us a serviceable guy in left field. We don't want to bum, but you got a good major league player out there. Let's go with it.
Yeah. Do you think Kershaw is going to re-sign?
I kind of unsettling some of the things he said about Ohtani's deal, wasn't it? I mean, it wasn't anything big. People blew it out of proportion, I think, some, but
yeah.
I wish he would, but he's from that Dallas-Fort Worth area, and he's the world champion sitting there. And if they want to, I don't see where that would be. And looking at him, I don't think I'd be mad at him if he did something like that, because he's we all know he's on the backside of his career, and he can walk in there with a chance of making a run at a World Series again with a great manager and a great pitching coach, Mike Maddox, right there in his backyard. I don't know. I sure hope he does. I love Kershaw and the Dodgers, but even if he goes to Rangers, I'm gonna love him too, because kind of like Heaney signed down there again. He's with the Dodgers for a while, and he's one of my near boys from Oklahoma State and Putnam City, Oklahoma high school. So I'm glad Rex talked to him last. He's excited about being back with the Rangers. He could have gone other places for more money, but he chose to stay close to family. Kind of same thing. He told Rex, staying close to family, and obviously with the world champion. So he took less money to stay with the Rangers because of the location, that sort of thing. So I could see Kershaw doing either one. Obviously, I'd love for him to stay with us, but we all know he's on the downwards, the backward slide of his career. He's still a good major league pitcher, though.
I just don't see any scenario where Kershaw does not sign with the Dodgers, and there's several different layers to it. I think one is he doesn't want to leave the Dodgers with the taste in his mouth that he left last season with. He doesn't want that to be his last performance in a Dodger uniform, for one. For two, I keep saying this, but I really think this is a factor. The Dodgers don't have any 40-man spots, but they will once the spring training starts, because once that starts, then you're going to put Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin on the IL. That's going to clear up a spot on the 40-man for Clayton Kershaw to take at that point. So he could wait till spring training to do it. He's not going to come back until probably midway through the season. And so he's going to need a situation and a team that doesn't need him to be one of the 5 starters every 5th day. So the role that the Dodgers could put him in, just kind of being that roving mentor guy and pitching every 6th day or whatever role they put him in, I think the Dodgers have the positioning of as far as when he would want to sign, when he could sign, the role to offer him, and the fact that he doesn't want to leave a legacy of having that last outing with the Dodgers. For all of those reasons, I just don't see any way that Clayton Kershaw doesn't re-sign. And hey, I've been wrong many times before. I could be dead wrong on this one, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, it just makes me wonder why he hadn't done it then. You know what I'm saying? Everything you're saying.
Because he can't good. Right now. The Dodgers don't have a 40-man spot. I think he's waiting because the Dodgers don't have a 40-man until they can open those 40-man spots up during spring training. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on Kershaw?
Well, I mean, is he willing to take that role? I mean, because of injury, he has to. But, I mean, is he willing to be a long relief, every 6-day guy? I don't know. You know, is that if that's a role he's willing to take? I don't know the guy. I don't know the guy personally. Obviously, he's a great guy. He wouldn't have lasted this long, and he wouldn't have been with the Dodgers this long if he wasn't a good person. So obviously he is, but I don't know his makeup as far. We've all coached even on our level. You got those guys that have that mentality. They're not going to settle. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of guys, it's a fault. At some point, it becomes a fault because it works to their detriment. So I don't know the guy enough to say, if he's willing to do that, because a lot of guys aren't, big time starters, Hall of Fame starters don't want to be long relief or short relief or pitch every 6 days. Even though that's what your body is telling you, that's where you are now in your career. But so I don't know. I could see him. Wouldn't surprise me at all sticking with the Dodgers, and maybe he does take it on down the road. But I would tend to, if you ask me for a percentage, I think it's more likely he would sign with the Dodgers, but I wouldn't be shocked if something else happened.
Let's get some great talk going. Lane Thomas, 2 years of club control. He is a right-hander. I think most people would agree the Dodgers do need a right-handed hitter. So that would probably eliminate Jeff McNeil, who's a lefty. He still does have 3 years, $41.75 million club option 2027. Then you have Max Kepler. And then you have switch hitters, Anthony Santander. I think there are some indications that Anthony Santander, of course, the Orioles are going to be really good, right? But I think they have a whole bunch of depth, and it would take a lot to get him. And you're buying him high. He's been kind of inconsistent, but I just think that he is a guy that the Dodgers really, really, really need to do. They probably already have. I'm not telling the Dodgers what they don't already know, but I do think he should definitely be a big-time consideration. And Dylan Carson. My two favorites of that list would be Lane Thomas and Anthony Santander if you don't go and get a Randy Arozarena. And let me remind you of this. If you do go get a Yamamoto, now you still have all your prospect capital in place, and now you have the prospect capital to go get a Lane Thomas or a Randy Arozarena or a Anthony Santander, something like that. So this Yamamoto signing is a really, really big deal because, again, if you don't get him, I think you have to go the trade route, which would be like a Dylan Cease.
Yep, I agree. That's kind of holding all the cards. It sounds like something may be going down pretty quick, like in the next day or so. So at least we'll know, have some answers. Dodgers will know where they're heading on that. But I'm like you. I don't think we need a left-handed stick. I mean, you never say never, but a good right-handed. I think we need a right-hand stick or a switch hitter.
Yeah.
Somebody that can be in those positions. So the two you mentioned would fit that mode pretty well. Yeah, I think we're good on the left-handed end of it. So,
especially with Gavin Lux coming back. So, if you look at your outfield being, say, a Chris Taylor, James Outman, and Jason Hayward, Margot platoon, then Muncy, Lux, Betts, and Freeman. I think that you need to button some of that up a little bit. So let's get to some comments here. We have a wonderful lobby again, Coach. Mr. John Rod 77, good evening, and thank you for joining. It says Yamamoto is starting to sound not promising. We'll see. I mean, he may have wanted to meet with the Yankees because he didn't like something he heard and wanted to get something clarified or that. But seeing that he requested a second meeting, typically speaking, you've been an administrator, Coach. When you request a second meeting with somebody, what does that mean, Coach?
I'll call you back in for a reason. Yeah, no, that's pretty. That sounds to me like something getting ready to happen pretty quick. Yeah, we don't call a person in for the second time for an interview unless you're getting ready to offer them something. So, yeah. And the fact he calls me, same thing on the other end of it. If I got a coach that calls. So one thing, if a coach or a teacher called me and wanted to have a second meeting, two things have to happen. If I'm really interested, I want them, yes, get on in here. But
Yes.
other side of it, I got to be very honest and say, no, we've decided to go another direction, or whatever, however you want to word that. But they're not going to do that, not in this situation. So that sounds to me like that's something getting ready to come down the pike pretty quick there.
Yeah, that does not sound promising at all for the Dodgers. So we'll see. And that would be a big, big hit. I tweeted this out yesterday. How much would you actually go up and offer Yamamoto? And I think the most that most Dodgers fans would offer him would be $325 over 10 years, which is just absolutely ridiculously high for a guy who's never thrown a major league pitch. Some Dodgers fans said, let's stop at 300. He either wants to be a Dodger or not. Where are you at on that?
Well, I saw 300 too. I was looking through some stuff today, and I saw 300 million popped up. Yeah, I mean, Ohtani's 700 is off the charts, but he's also a two-time MVP and a freak of nature, maybe potentially one of the greatest players ever put on a uniform. So that's a totally different deal. This guy, yes, he hadn't thrown a pitch in major leagues. I know he did real well in the World Baseball Classic against big league hitters. I know there is a little bit there. He's 30 years old too. Is he about 30?
Yamamoto?
No, he's younger. He's 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Mike is good. Yeah, he's the younger
going to be 30 in the summer, I think.
Who? No. Ohtani?
No, it's no. I'm getting mixed up. No, Ohtani's just 25, also, isn't he?
Ohtani's older. He's reaching 30.
Okay, somebody's turning 30 in July. I think it's Ohtani. I was just looking at it today. I get confused. Ohtani, I think, turns 30 on July 5th, if I'm not mistaken. So Yamamoto, I think, is 25, if I'm not mistaken. So his age isn't a factor there at all. But 300 seems
25.
Like
Yamamoto is 25.
Yeah, I knew I'd looked at that today. But anyway, 300 would probably be about tops for me too. If you had to go 325 to get him, okay. I mean, let's face it, $25 million of the Dodgers is $25 to me and you probably.
Yeah. I think you go 325, but only if Yamamoto comes back to you and says, "Hey, if you just match these other teams, I'm coming to the Dodgers."
Yeah.
At that point, it would be an interesting. If he said, "I've got an offer for 140, 10 years. If you match that, I am coming to the Dodgers. I guarantee you that."
Yeah, it is a great thing. I mean, it's a great thing. Ohtani talked. They said one of the big reasons he came to the Dodgers, he's wanting to win.
Yeah.
He started the Angels are 8 straight losing seasons or something. Of course, he hadn't been involved in all 8 of those, but 8 straight losing seasons, he's tired of it. I mean, same way Yamamoto. Okay, yeah, the Yankees are the head organization of baseball. You look at 27 World Series titles, but they also suck last year.
Yeah,
I mean, and we all know, like we said earlier, they could change. They could win it all this year. A lot of teams have gone from worst to first and that sort of thing. Especially in the big leagues, it doesn't take much. When you got Aaron Judge and people like that rolling around over there, and Stanton, if he ever stays healthy.
Yeah.
And some people they're getting, I mean, it's not like that they couldn't jump up there and get hot and play well, kind of like everybody else. Big leaguers, it isn't that far away from the outhouse to the penthouse, as several teams have proven. The Rangers recently and several others, so there's that too. So, I just don't like the Yankees. That's probably why I said that.
Yeah, no
I'd
doubt.
like to see them sign.
When you say Rex,
I go back in the 70s, Case. I hated the Reds back in the early 70s too. You weren't even born then. The Big Red Machine used to knock us out every year because they would win 108 games, would win 104, wouldn't even go to the playoffs, something like that. But anyway, so I got that deep-seated stuff going back to the Yankees. I shouldn't have said that. I don't really. But we finally got them, what was it, 81, I guess we finally got them. Anyway, whatever it was, 78, whatever it was, we got them. Finally got them.
Yeah.
After they beat us several times. But anyway, so, there's several ways to look at it. Of course, he's not Ohtani. He's who he is. So, just because, there's some similarities, it's not, cut and dried. So, I don't know. Sounds like he's getting ready to be a Yankee to me. But, again, I know nothing other than throwing a headset on Sunday and acting like I like to talk to the Dodgers. So.
That's the thing that's tough for everybody is that these international prospects are so tight-lipped unless they want to leak something that they want out to create a narrative for somebody, maybe to raise a value, kind of an all-talk type of thing. So it's very tough to tell exactly what's going on. So nobody really has a good gauge. So here's the two deals. Does he want to play with Ohtani? Is that a positive factor, or is that actually a negative factor where he doesn't want to be overshadowed by Ohtani, right? I mean, I don't think anybody has a good feel for that.
No, it's like Ohtani, the word was out that anybody that talks about it in meetings, they're out of it. And then Dave says something about it. Robert says something. We're all going, well, thanks a lot, Robert. You just ruined it for us.
Yeah.
Now his agent says that was never a deal.
Sure.
Somebody spread that information. but
No doubt.
His agent says that wasn't a big deal. Whatever. But
Yep.
Tom were like, oh, thanks a lot, Dave. You just ruined it for us. You just said he had a meeting. Now we'll never get him. But, that's us out here with the fish hook. Get reeled in by whoever got that information out there, wanted that rumor out there. So,
Coach, we have a wonderful lobby, and we're going to get some comments right here. Michael Hoffer, good evening, Michael. Thank you so much for joining. I would like to remind everybody that the link to the GoFundMe account is at the top of this chat. We are trying to create an account. We did create an account. We're trying to raise enough money, possibly to send us to spring training. We'll see. If not, it'll at least pay for some trips to Oklahoma City and Tulsa and for Austin to the Great Lakes Loons games, and maybe pay for some gas to get there back and forth, whatever it may be. So
and a hot dog, and
and a Dodger dog. Of course, it won't be a dog. It's going to be an Oklahoma City baseball club dog this next year, not a Dodger dog, right?
Don't get me started.
Yeah. So that link is at the top to the GoFundMe account. If you wouldn't mind, donate 50 cents, $1, $5, whatever you might feel like donating there. But if not, that's awesome too. So Mr. John Rod 77 says Yamamoto is starting to sound not promising. Michael says good evening, and Michael Hoffer, one of our great fans here in the lobby that joins us almost every time, says drinking some E.H. Taylor bourbon, smoking an Alec Bradley cigar, and ready for some Dodgers talk. Coach, how about that?
I like that. Hey, bourbon. I like that guy already. He's a Dodger fan that drinks bourbon, and you got to like that, man. Power to him, man. Tell him I'm glad to hear that, and I agree with him. We'll all talk about it like we know what's going on, like we have an idea. Mainly what we all have is a love of the Dodgers, and we always will. So that's a great part about it. We're not hurting anybody here. I'm sure not going to spread any rumors because I don't know anybody. I don't know who to talk to other than you guys. So just throw my opinions out there.
This is one of my students right here. One of my students bought me a sugar cookie latte from Scooters one day, and it was like the greatest thing of all time. And I was like celebrating it. You know how when you get older, like you have small victories like that, and like a sugar cookie latte, somebody getting it for you is like the greatest thing ever, right?
Yes.
And
absolutely.
so I have a question here. Am I drinking a sugar cookie latte? I will say that I had one yesterday. They're awesome, Coach. They're awesome.
So the kid that sounds good. I've tried. We got a Scooters here in Stillwater, and there's always a huge line out there.
Yes. Yes. It's very good.
What's going on down there? Okay.
Yeah. It's like $11, but it's worth it. All right. Alexandria, thank you so much for joining, Alexandria. Yamamoto most likely going to Yankees. He met with them at their stadium again today, and many inside sources are saying he's going to the Yankees. That would be a big hit. Obviously, the Dodgers, I think, are the favorites to win the NL West. They're the favorites to make it to the World Series. Once you got to face the Yankees, who knows there, but that would be a big hit.
Yeah, that would be. Like I said, that sounds like the way it's going to go. But the good thing is, like you mentioned earlier, the Dodgers know where they're going now. That one's gone. Now here, let's move on to the next one. So that would be doing what, like you mentioned earlier, find the left fielder, another starting pitcher.
Yeah, and you never know whenever some things are actually, of course, you always rationalize when you don't get what you want. But Yamamoto's never thrown a major league pitch, right? So you go get a Dylan Cease and say that he has I think he could really excel in the Dodgers system, and who's to say Dylan Cease wouldn't be better than Yamamoto, right? And not signed for 10 years. Yeah,
he's a proven, when he's healthy in the big leagues, he's a proven commodity already there. But as far as getting an outfielder, I mean, I think that's, you never know. But I like to think Cease has shown has had success in the big leagues when he's right and everything. So there's nothing wrong there. By the way, I was of course, got Matt Holiday. Sit down with Matt Holiday this week. He comes to our practice because his kid plays on the team. He's a freak of nature, by the way. He's awesome.
Matt Holiday's awesome. By the way, Matt Holiday had Cody Bellinger in about this time last year, and I think that's a big reason why Cody Bellinger had such a good year. Matt actually worked on his hitting mechanics, and I think Cody took those to heart, and that really helped him fix his swing.
And go back before that, he had Matt Carpenter the year before, and he had a comeback here. Matt Carpenter came and hit with him. They were teammates at St. Louis, and he came and fixed his career. So this year, in rolls Joey Gallo. I'll jump back there. Joey Gallo hits with him. So I go up to Matt this week. I'm going, hey, Tell Gallo to go to the Dodgers. You know, he's a great defender. Tell your buddy to go to the Dodgers. He goes, nah, it sounds like he thinks he may sign with the Padres. I don't know. That's just Matt talking. But anyway, so I said, okay. Did you ever play with Hayward? He said, yeah, he's with Hayward. I think he's with him a year in St. Louis. He spoke very highly of Jason Hayward. I was telling him, I said, hey, he's our guy now. Well, I guess we've signed him. He's going to play. Looks like our everyday right fielder. And Matt sure had a lot of great things to say about him. Great teammate, great person. So I think that's stuff we already knew. But yeah, I was kind of goading him into trying to tell Gallo to come sign with us. I know he's great defensively. And I was banking on the fact that Matt fixed his swing.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't strike out 400 times.
Like he did when he was at the Dodgers the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, that's a funny Matt. He's got a lot. I love sitting there and visit with him because he knows about it. He keeps up with all that stuff in the big leagues and all that and everything. So it was good to talk to him. But he thought that was great for Hayward. So he says he's a good everything, hard worker and all that stuff. So he really liked him. So that's exciting. And the Dodgers obviously feel that way too. They wouldn't have gone there. But the left field is a problem now. So it's not a problem.
You could put Margot over there and just be Margot, Outman, and Hayward, and then just platoon Chris Taylor for whatever day you want him.
Yeah, I said you got a right hand here, there, and Taylor, whatever you need to. Yeah, I mean, it's not a problem yet, I guess.
And then you could also move Mookie Betts out. I mean, another option is you can move Mookie Betts out to right field, right? I mean, anytime you needed to, and you still have Miggy Rowe, and you could always put Miggy Rowe at shortstop and put Gavin Lux at second base. So there's a million different options. Another option for the Dodgers.
Hayward can play left, too, I'm sure. I mean, he can obviously play left field, too.
Yeah, no doubt. Another option the Dodgers could go to is Jesus Luzardo, 26-year-old from Miami, lefty. The advantage to that is that the Dodgers, if they don't get Clayton Kershaw back, Coach, no left-handed starters. Ryan Yarbrough, I'm not going to ever admit that he's going to be a starter for the Dodgers. I'm not saying he will never start a game, but what I am saying is I don't think the Dodgers will ever pencil him in as, hey, we have 5 starters, or even if we have 6 starters, and Ryan Yarbrough is one of those. Now, if he has to start a game, fine, but it's because somebody got hurt, somebody wasn't available. Nick Frosso's down in AAA Oklahoma City, and he threw yesterday, that kind of thing. See, those are the kind of taxi situations that folks don't understand with like a Gavin Stone, okay? So there were 3 different times last year to where Gavin Stone missed his start in Oklahoma City. They taxed him to L.A., and then he didn't pitch. And they only taxed him to L.A. because they thought they might need an extra arm for a certain game or whatever. And so there were 3 different times to where he completely missed a start, traveled to L.A., came back to Oklahoma City, and then on like 12 days rest, had to go out and pitch. Then tried to get back on a normal routine. Then there were 2 more times to where there were double headers, and he got called up for a double header on short notice and had to hurry up and get to L.A., or I don't know exactly what the location was or wherever it was. So, those factors, like Nick Frasso is going to be that guy next year, Landon Knack. Mm-hmm. Those are going to be the guys to where, hey, you might miss 3 or 4 starts in Oklahoma City to not even pitch for L.A. You just got to be ready. And then all at the same time, Coach, you're trying to break into the major leagues, which is very, very difficult. And then you have a fan base that you have, of course, they should feel this way. I don't mean this in a negative way. But when you go get, even the team last year, when you go get a J.D. Martinez, you re-sign a Clayton Kershaw this year, you get Shohei Otani, you get a Tyler Glass now. Now you're coming into an environment to where there is no forgiveness. If you're a Nick Frasso and somebody gets injured, you're trying to break into the major leagues for the very first time onto that type of team with absolutely no routine. I warn Dodgers fans, if there's Gavin Stone type struggles, even Bobby Miller type struggles, if there's Michael Grove type struggles, Ryan Pepio the first time he came up type struggles, Gavin Lux at second base type struggles, it's not because these guys aren't as good as they're advertised. It's because of the situation they're being put in is extremely difficult. So I hope that the Dodgers set a rotation and they all stay healthy.
Oh, that'd be great. I mean, nobody could predict what happened last year. Ever in the history of baseball probably had predicted something like that happen. But yeah, that's probably when I saw Stone pitch in June there in Oklahoma City, because he was wild, couldn't throw a strike, and I know he'd just been up with the Dodgers, and people around us getting a little testy, but he probably the same situation. It may have been when he came back on 12 days rest and tried to throw on a Saturday night in Oklahoma City, and it didn't go well for him.
It is, Coach.
Probably exactly what that was. Case is out around June 5th or something.
Yes, I promise you it was.
Yeah, and he struggled. Only he was out there a couple of innings, got his work in, and he walked a lot of people, gave up some hits, and he was out. No, of course, you have to. Everything works off the major league team. We get that. You put those guys in tough situations. That's almost, to me, if you look at it as a manager, which is a coach, what I do, if a guy does anything, that shows me a lot that they're able to even do anything during that situation, because they're not in a routine.
Yes,
we're putting them on a plane and you're setting. I mean that's not even. That'd be like
it's just the uncertainty.
That'd be like me bringing up a guy off the JV to play, then all of a sudden I don't play him. And he missed a doubleheader he could have been playing in. It's the same thing. He just missed 80 at bats and sitting on my bench. It's the same type of deal.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know if there's an answer to it because you base everything off your top club. I don't know that you can.
See, I think your quad A, like Dylan Covey's, like they brought up Dylan Covey. Yeah. I thought he was able to handle that. And, I thought Matt Andrees would also have been a good candidate for that. I think that's the role that your quad A veteran type pitchers should have. I don't think your rookies should be your depth. I think it's too difficult on them. I think the Mitch White situation, he broke, man. I'm telling you. I was on the grounds crew. I saw it with my own eyes. Mitch White broke with all of the back and forth, the pressure going. It's one thing if you're. I don't want to use the name of an organization, but it's one thing if you're going up and down to an organization that's 38 games out of first place, right? I mean, but you're going up to the Dodgers to where, especially last year, you got to go up and hit the ground running right now. And then it's back. I'm telling you, it broke him, and I've talked to several different other guys. It is a lot harder than Dodgers fans think that it is. It's hard for veterans to do, okay? Now, if you take a veteran out of routine, okay, it pisses them off, right? They're very pissed off, okay? And it makes it much more difficult for them to perform. You do that to a rookie, it makes it a lot harder. So I wish the Dodgers would use their quad A guys, the Robbie Erlins, not necessarily him, but that type of situation. The Matt Andrees, they did it with Dylan Covey. They had success. Use your quad A guys as your depth if a guy gets hurt, and then give your rookies routine. Keep them in a routine. Imagine, Coach, bringing up a JV kid, all this time, and then you bring him up to the varsity, and then just mess his entire routine up, and then just say, here, go get into it. I didn't give you a routine. I took you all out of your routine. Now go here. We're in the district championship against Owasso right now. I need you to go get a hit, or I'm going to send you back down. Yeah. How's that going to work?
You. That's on the manager. There's no doubt about it. That's on the manager. That's not fair because you're putting a person in a situation where there's really no chance of success. Not that they wouldn't have it. Somebody may get it. They can do it, but it's hard. It's like we talked about last year. All the kids that come up pitching the Dodgers, it was a pennant race when they came up. Yeah. That shows me a lot about their makeup, especially in the situation you're talking about. If they're up there and have a lot of days off, and now all of a sudden the Dodgers got a 2-game lead, and everybody's gone. It's you. Thanks for coming up from Oklahoma City. And how was that plane ride? And you're pitching tonight against the Braves. Have fun with that one.
By the way, you have no margin for error. You have to be as good as a major league pitcher right now. Or
if we're going to win, it's on you guys. And that's the great part. I still say Dave Roberts should have been the manager of the year for that. For what he was able to accomplish, him as the manager with that team, with the whole starting rotation out. I mean, that's unheard of. And those guys, those dadgum rookies right there, I hope they all got a pay raise. Even the guys down in Oklahoma City got something because they had a big hand in what ended up happening, what ended up going down. Yeah, sure, it was ugly in the playoffs. That wasn't their fault either because they weren't out there throwing. But, to put the Dodgers in that situation, there was a lot of young kids that paid the price for that one.
Yep, no doubt. Jesus Luzardo, he would solve some issues in the sense that the Dodgers do need a left-handed starter. We mentioned that just a minute ago, but he would be very, very, very pricey. He's entering his ARB 2 year this year. He'll be ARB 3 in 2025, ARB 4 in 2026, and then a free agent in 2027. So you would have 3 years of team control, just $5.9 million on the books. Jesus Luzardo might be the most expensive free agent, not the best. So you might be paying the most amount in prospect capital for maybe not the best starting pitcher out there for Jesus Luzardo when you look at some of his underlying numbers. So I think that would make it, I think that probably, of course, I'm not very good at this, and I think things change. I think the Dodgers coach, you know those books that you could pick one way and it would take you in this direction. Hey, if you want this outcome, go to page 24. If you want that out, you know those kind of books. That's what the hot stove is. So the Dodgers, they have like 11 different scenarios lined out, right? Okay, and so if this domino falls, this is the direction we're going to go. If that domino falls this way, we're going to go that direction instead. Does that make sense? So I think a whole bunch of different dominoes would have to fall first for the Dodgers to pursue Jesus Luzardo because of the difficulty it would take to attain him.
That's a beautiful thing. I mean, raise your hand if you had the Rangers and the D-backs in the World Series last year and went to Vegas and put money down. Nobody did. That's a beautiful part about all this. As we know, there's no guarantees on anything, and are you willing to pull the trigger on something like that and not know what you're you don't know. You don't know what you're going to get. I mean, there's no guarantees in anything there. I know the Dodgers are great with analytics, and I know they got people studying this on a daily basis. What's the best situation? I know they're going to come up with make the best move available to them at the time. So I got faith in them for doing that. That doesn't sound like a great deal to me.
Yeah. Craig says, how many more teams does Yamamoto have to visit? I would say none. I think his visits are over. I think he took all of his recruiting trips, and it looks like he is going to sign with the New York Yankees, which congratulations to him. Right. Which means now, like I said, the Dodgers, hey, they know all the trade targets. They're not going to be surprised by anything. They know all the free agency targets. So, hey, this domino felt that way. So now here, like I said, here is the path that we need to go on now. I can't see any way possible that the Dodgers are done, though. Can you? I mean, can you see the Dodgers just stopping now?
No, they're obviously not, because they just made the biggest signing of all time, and they're still in on the pitcher everybody wants. They're still in on him. Yeah. There's no way they're going to stop now. Like I said, they've already established we're trying to win now. Yeah. And we're going to do whatever it takes, and we got the money to do it, and we got the capital, we've got the prospects to do it if we need to. And no, I don't think no. And I will say this, and we've talked about this before. There's been some other years that I was pretty ticked at them for doing nothing.
Yes, last year,
nothing. And you're like, okay. I mean, it's great that you love your guys and you love it, blah blah blah. But you're always trying to better yourself.
Yeah.
One way or the other. So there's been years. So I'm not gonna. So I love the fact they're getting after it. Boy, how great is Joe Kelly giving his number up that quick?
Yeah.
Said, hey, why'd you do that for? He goes, he's better than me.
Mariachi Joe. Yeah, did you see the video his wife made? That was classic, wasn't it?
That's why we love that guy.
That was awesome.
I love Joe Kelly. Fans love that guy. He's throwing 98 and talking smack, and his wife's throwing out his jerseys on this video. It was awesome. That's why we all love Joe Kelly, and we're glad he's back with us. And he didn't have to hesitate to give that 17 up. That's all. But I figured it makes sense. He'd get number 99. There you go. He's that guy. But thank God he's on our team, and that's great. And yeah, that video his wife made was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. La Coleccion says, get Pete Alonso. Hey, thank you so much for joining La Coleccion. We do this every Sunday night with Coach Hall. Wednesday nights is with Austin Brubaker. And Friday nights is with whoever doesn't have a life that night, right? I text out everybody I know, and whoever doesn't have a life that night, they come on with me, and usually I'm the only one. Everybody else has a life except for me, right? So, hey, La Coleccion, thank you so much for joining. It says, go get Pete Alonso. Hey, we're real on this show, Coach. We have a wonderful community. We have the best baseball community out there. There's no doubt about it. Clint Pasillas mentioned the other day, the YouTube community specifically is definitely the best baseball community. It's way better than the cesspool, as he put it, of Facebook. I totally agree with him that. Yep. The Twitter community is pretty good too, but the YouTube community is definitely the most knowledgeable. And I think here at Dodgers Daily, we have the most, not the biggest, but the most knowledgeable crowd as well. So thank you so much for joining. Having said that, we love to cuss and discuss. We talk, we agree, we disagree, we get it all out, right? So Pete Alonso, I would be against that. Just simply way too much swing and miss for me. I think the Dodgers already have enough guys that are just hit or miss, boom or bust.
Yep.
I don't think they need to go get another boom or bust type of guy.
I agree with that. I mean, he's got a lot of power, but a lot of strike. I mean, is he a left? Can he play left field? I mean, obviously we don't need him at first base. I guess you'd get him to put him in left field if that's a possibility.
Yeah, right.
I like the guy who's got a lot of power, big time power. But I don't. There's a lot of guys I'd rather have. Give me Randy Rosarina instead of him, but that's just me.
Yeah, no doubt. So Pete Alonso here with the Mets. He has DH and he has played first base in his career. So he is definitely an absolute no, because you obviously have Shoy Otani and you have Freddie Freeman, your two best players other than Mookie Betts in your team. So I don't mean to be argumentative or any of that, but Pete Alonso, when you just look at the type of player for one, even if he could play left field, if you wanted to transition him to a different position, even at that, I would say no. And then having to say that he's never played anywhere other than first base and DH, I think he's a definite, absolute no. Mike says that it's all talk, just like Ohtani was signing with the Blue Jays. I don't know, man. I think Yamamoto is wanting to set his own pace.
Right.
I think if he goes to the Yankees, I don't think it's necessarily money. I think he's wanting to make his own way.
Yeah, well, that's the you look at Dodgers and Yankees, there you go. I mean, and the Cardinals, they're up there because they won the second most world championships. But then you go back again, going, was it somebody just throwing it out there as a second meeting, kind of like Ohtani?
Yeah, right.
Hey, don't talk about the meeting or you're out of the sweepstakes.
I don't think that's the case here, man.
Then Dave Roberts talks about it. So is there somebody throwing it out there? Probably not, but because everybody thought that a plane was leaving L.A. going to Toronto, and it was, and our Shark Tank boy gets off of it. He gets off the plane like, hey, what the hell y'all looking at? What the hell y'all looking at? Can I fly my own plane to Toronto? That was awesome. I love that guy on Shark Tank. Can't even think of his name right now.
How do you think those people felt when I got that text? Not Shohei Otani.
Yeah.
How do you think Morosi felt when he got that text?
Play same thing I said. That guy from Shark Tank is the one that got off the plane. That billionaire, whatever. But that was awesome.
Yeah.
Private jet leaving L.A. for Toronto right now. Like that's the only one. I don't know the flight patterns out there, but I'm assuming that's not the only flight that goes to Toronto. I'm sure Drake goes to L.A. once in a while, but he live in Toronto. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. I know Drake is the most popular musician of all the players.
That dude goes from L.A. to Toronto regularly. I mean, that guy. By the way, my daughter's excited about seeing him in Oklahoma City or something. I know that.
All the young people love Drake. Every time I ask that question, who would you like to perform with? When I ask the fun questions, they all say Drake. Yeah. And I ask him, would you bring your own song to him? Or would you play one of theirs? I want to play one of his, right? That kind of deal.
No kidding. I hear he's good friends with SGA for the Thunder. That's one of the reasons he's coming to Oklahoma City doing two shows. That's what my daughter tell me. She reads probably all the whatever information. I had no idea. No, I guess they are. I guess they're both from the same area, and he's a big buddies with SGA, and that's why they're doing two shows in Oklahoma City. I said, got to make sure SGA don't have a game that night out of town, I guess. He would be out of town, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
The problem with signing Max Kepler is I would call him Gabe Kapler every single time. I would never be, in the Dodgers system, the AAA play-by-play voice, he's just a wonderful, wonderful human being. Alex Friedman.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the high A shortstop for Great Lakes in the Dodgers system is Alex Freeland. And it's like, oh, wow. Okay. So it's like every time I talk to either one of them, I'm just sweating bullets. And then every time I would talk to Carson Taylor, it's hilarious because it's like, please don't call him Chris Taylor. I mean, I would write it on a sticky note and put it right in front of my face. Do not call him Chris Taylor, right? And the funniest part about it is, Coach, I interviewed Henny in Wichita this last year, and I brought Carson up. And the first thing Hitty did was he called him Chris Taylor and had no idea he did it. Of course, I never mentioned it to Hitty, but I mean, he like 3 different times he called Carson Taylor Chris Taylor, and I just giggled and smiled like, okay, good. Well, I'm good then. If his manager's doing it, then I'm fine.
Yeah, Henny's earned that right. He probably calls everybody by the wrong name. They just like, whatever, Coach. I've done it myself. Call them other. I've coached long enough to have brothers or actually some sons of some guys I coach.
Yeah.
In the past. I got to watch it sometimes.
Michael, who's one of our wonderful fans here, just an unbelievably knowledgeable baseball fan here, Coach. Gonna say it all the time. I say it all the time. Best Dodgers, the most intelligent Dodgers community out there. Sunday nights I know are difficult for some people, so we really appreciate this wonderful lobby that we have tonight. Matter of fact, Austin's at church right now rehearsing some songs right now for a Christmas show that they're getting ready to do. So,
kind of a
so
big
good
deal
luck
right
to him.
now.
Michael says Kepler and Santander are very, very good. I would totally agree with that.
Yep.
They would both be very exciting signings, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think it'd be great for the Dodgers if you can get it go either way. They're not done like you said before. I'd take either one of those guys.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
Yeah, Michael says I like Kepler, but we need a righty bat. I would agree with that. Being pretty, but you do have Chris Taylor. People forget that if you need to put just a right-handed bat in there, you can put Chris Taylor in there, and you can make it a platoon type situation. So then let's say if you got a left-handed left fielder, right? You have Chris Taylor and a left-handed left fielder. There's your platoon there. You have the platoon in right field, a righty-lefty platoon, and then you also have James Outman, who you can platoon one of those righties with as well. So I don't think it's – I think you're still in position if you're the Dodgers. You go get the best player available. It doesn't matter whether they're right or left-handed. Preferably right-handed, probably, yes. But if there's any substantial difference, I think the best player overrides what side of the plate he hits from. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree. You go get the best player available. It's kind of like we was talking about earlier. If Kershaw for some reason doesn't sign, you have no left-handed starters. So, again, I'll go back to 1988.
I'm with you on that. I agree with that.
They didn't have a left-handed pitcher on the roster.
Yeah.
Of course, they had to throw Hershiser in start and relief every other time. But, and Gibson had to come off with a broken leg or not his hamstring. Did a home run, in a pinch hit role. But I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure they didn't have a lefty on the whole staff, and still able to pull. So, sort of could work magic there. But anyway, I'm just saying you get your best one available and you kind of do what you got to do. That'd be great. But, best player available, that's what they got to get. Yeah,
no doubt. Phantom TV, Fantexum TV, I think that's what it says. Hey, good evening, and thank you for joining again every Sunday evening. Sunday evenings is an hour earlier, so Coach and I can kind of get a head start to our Sunday evening and enjoy the evening with our beautiful brides, the rest of it that we have left. For me, we got to go take our dogs for a walk. We have a female and a male pit bull, and if you don't take them for their walk as soon as you wake up in the morning and right when they're expecting it, and if you don't feed them at the right time, Coach, and then when they come in and they need their loving, if you don't get all of those things done exactly when they want it, you got problems, right?
You don't need an alarm clock in your house.
Absolutely.
You don't need a lock. I've got two little bitty dogs. We don't need an alarm clock. They pretty much let you know it's time to go out. Hey, you still got the dog that about to rip my arm off that one day, Case?
Yes, that is our female. Yes, that is correct. We added a male to that. That is correct. Yeah. How is your arm, by the way, Coach?
Oh, it's great. I always tell people now as I'm –
I haven't seen – every time I get mail, I'm like – okay, is this like from an attorney? Am I getting
a lawsuit coming? No. I always tell people every time I get a little bitty cut and I bleed. I said, I was always thought as I got older, you get thick skin. I always say, hey, I got thick skin. I've been coaching 30 years, been a principal, or people have been pissed off at me all the time. I know how to take it. I got thick skin. The reality of it is, I'm 65 now. And I don't have thick skin.
Yeah, right.
Somebody touches me, I start bleeding. I was at baseball the other day. I looked down, I had blood on my hand. Like, what the heck was that? So. All you people out there who think you're going to get thick skin when you get old, he gets thinner. In your mind, it gets thicker. But so your dog just jumped up on me because he's happy to see me.
Oh, yeah.
Just, hey, there's a new guy. Just look down, my arm was bleeding like somebody had stabbed me. Anyway, wasn't your dog's fault. It's just the old man came to visit.
Phantom XTB says the only missing pieces on the roster are Roki Sasaki and Bobby Witt Jr. Matter of fact, Coach, Bobby Witt Jr., I got a chance to see him multiple times at Tulsa. Yep. And he actually went, I believe Arkansas is the AA affiliate of the Royals. Well, one of the Arkansas. I always get them confused. They have the Travelers and then the Naturals. The one that's in Springdale, I think, is the one that is the Royals. Don't quote me on that. But anyways, every time they come, I get to sit with the two guys that do all of the analytics. They put in, the TrackMan data and all that. So I get to sit next to him. I get to get the velos, and I get to get the exit velos, and the miles per hour across the yard from the shortstop and all that kind of stuff. And so I got to watch Bobby Witt probably 7 times at Tulsa, Bobby Witt Jr. And then they also had a catcher that actually led the league in home runs. Both of them went straight from Double-A to the major leagues. And actually the Royals, and a lot of teams are starting to do this, Coach, because they're using their Triple-A. I mentioned it a minute ago. A lot of teams are starting to use their Triple-A clubs to be their Quad A older type veteran depth pieces. And then all their talent's actually in Double-A that you shift straight. So if you need a Quad A type of guy, then you go to Triple-A. If you're looking to bring up a prospect and excite your fan base, you go straight into Double-A. So Bobby Witt Jr., and I can't remember the catcher's name, they went straight from Double-A to the major leagues. I can tell you right now, Bobby Witt Jr. is one of the best players I have ever seen with my own eyes. That dude is amazing.
Had a really good year last year, too, y'all. He looked great in Dodger blue. He looks pretty dadgum good in Kansas City Royal blue, but
yeah,
he looked great there. But he had a good year last year, too, and had some power and a little bit. I don't have the numbers, but I know he hit some home runs, too. I mean, and that's with a lineup where he didn't have much coverage on that lineup either. Him and Salvi are probably the only ones that anybody really worried about. I know they got some good young players, typical of the Royals.
Hey, they're going all in, too, Coach.
Yep.
They make a run about every 20 years, and when they make their run, they make a run, Coach.
It's like the Marlins do. Nobody goes to their games in that beautiful stadium. They'll win the World Series, and then they can't afford those guys, and they have to lose them because they don't have the money. Same way Royals are kind of the same way. They had that great team a few years ago because they're one of those guys went somewhere else. Seemed like, but Salvador Perez about the only one that stayed there. And he's still their catcher, I think. I think it's probably the only one left.
Yeah,
but that's a good franchise. I don't know. You know more about the minor league type stuff. I know at one time they were, one of the tops up there of the Dodgers as far as their minor league. They started the academy.
They were good last year.
When UL Washington was the first one to come out of that academy they had.
With the toothpick in his mouth?
Yeah, toothpick. Stringtown, Oklahoma, baby.
Absolutely.
That's one of our guys there. But
Frank White, Amos Otis, all those guys.
Yeah, that was a great.
Daryl Porter from Southeast in Oklahoma City.
Yep. Royals had a heck of an organization. Yeah. I assume it still is. You go in that stadium, it's old, it's dated, kind of like Arrowhead, but it's still a beautiful stadium. I love going to that stadium. Yeah. But you can tell it's built in the 70s. It just didn't have all the amenities, but the surface is always the best. And George Toma was taking care of it, and now he takes care of everything. But he started out taking care of that thing, and it's a beautiful place. But that'd be great. I say Bobby Witt Jr. would be even more beautiful playing at the Dodgers too. So
so Max Kepler, he would be nice, but left-handed. Okay, Alonso in the outfield would be reminiscent of Dave Kingman. For those of you that remember him, obviously remember Dave Kingman. He either hit the ball to the moon or he would swing and miss. No doubt about that. Okay, so what about Josh Hader? Okay, Josh Hader, I think, I don't know, that he's not necessarily a position of need. It would be nice to have a guy like that, but I don't know that he's like at the top of the list for the Dodgers just because of the position that he's in. I think Evan Phillips and guys like that can handle that position.
I wouldn't turn him down if we could get him, though. That's a heck of a closer. I know what you're saying. I don't know if that's a big need for the Dodgers. We never got to the closers in the playoffs because our starters got killed, so we never got a chance to do that. But I'm like you. I don't know that that's a big need, but, man, be a nice pickup if you just kind of, by the way, we got Josh Hader. That'd be big time. Yeah.
Yep. Do you think Fernando, good evening, Fernando. Thank you for joining. Do you think they will limit innings for Glasnow in the regular season for him to be healthy in the playoffs? If so, what do you think that limit will be? I think the limit's going to be about what he did last year, maybe a little bit more, 120, 125 innings, maybe up to 130. I think the Dodgers have the depth to be able to do that with him.
I love the name Fernando, by the way. That's a true Dodger fan right there. Fernando, number 34. But anyway, Fernando, it's a great question. I agree with that. I think I looked up, he had 120 innings, 160-something strikeouts. So the guy's big time if they can. Yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't go any more than that. And like I said, I think the Dodgers have the luxury of being able to do that, as we've talked about. Assuming we don't get back to where we were last year, and we're not going to talk negative. That's not going to happen. That didn't happen in the history of baseball, and it's not going to happen again. So you're not going to lose your whole starting rotation.
Yeah, Mr. Classic says, I was told Yamamoto's agent Joel Wolf had problems with Cashman before. due to Stanton as Wolf as his agent for Stanton. Yeah, Yamamoto is going to get $400 million. I don't think it's going to get that high, but I think it is going to get above $320 million. I think Yamamoto personally rejected the Mets and Yankees. That's what MJ Channel. Thank you for joining, MJ Channel. Appreciate you joining. And we have Mr. Classic again. Yikes, Dodgers need to move for another pitcher ASAP. I totally agree. There are some out there, Dylan Cease being one. Jesus Luzardo, we talked about him as well. Pitching is everything in baseball. We have to address it, period. And then Moose says, Casey, yeah, right there. Michael says, I think we're putting way too much faith in Glass now to stay healthy. You got a higher AAV less years than Nola, who has started over 30 games each of the last 5 full seasons. So, yeah, this is an upside-downside type trade. Hey, if he does stay healthy when he's on the mound, he is one of the best pitchers in the game of baseball, but he's not always on the mound. So definitely the Dodgers are taking a chance here. But the question is it a chance that they had to take? I think most Dodgers fans would say yes.
It's the same conversation we had about Dylan Cease. Me and you had it here about a month ago when that was the hot topic. They were going to get him. Yeah, he was a runner for the Cy Young 2 years ago, but last year, is that unknown? Unknown. What's going to happen? So unless you're the reigning Cy Young, like a Blake Snell, you know what you're going to get with him. Otherwise, a lot of these guys, they're good major league pitchers, but you really don't know what you're going. Especially if they've had some Tommy John, some sort of arm problems in the past, and they've been on programs and.
On the ground, left side of the infield, deep in the hole, it's short.
Work when they were healthy, and I think you kind of go from there. But
yeah.
It always happens. People, it's a part of athletics. Injuries and that sort of thing. Unfortunately, it just happens sometimes. So,
yep.
Again, I goes back to the same old thing. I remember years ago when we were looking for a superintendent at a school I was at, and I was a principal. And they kept arguing about a guy. Well, we get him, but he may go back to his hometown. I just remember looking at him, and I went back to baseball mode. And they asked me what I thought. I said, get the best available prospect guy you can get now. Don't worry about if he's going to go somewhere else. Tonight, who's the best guy you want for your superintendent? That's what you ought to do. And I feel that way. We, like you said earlier, best available prospect. We can sit around here and beat the dead horse till he's dead more. But the idea is, you make your decisions based off the best information you have today, or what you've compiled, what it looks like. You still got to do your homework. Especially with pitchers, are they healthy? What kind of arm? What are we talking about? What do they look? And I know they've got all the fine tooth stuff there. I know these guys are studying this stuff. I know they know to the day the guy come back.
Yeah. There's
advanced scouts everywhere. They don't even have to. There's video everywhere anymore. It's just there's no secrets. Anymore. As far as the prospects, everybody can watch because they're out there playing. People can watch them play. People can watch a video of them.
Yeah, right.
And see stuff. There's not a whole lot of secrets and
right.
Anymore like there used to be. You could maybe hide somebody once in a while, but it doesn't happen anymore. So get what you get. Do your homework and make your best decision on what you see and what you think is best. And the Dodgers have a pretty good track record of that. Like I said, the only years I've been upset with them is when they didn't do anything. It wasn't necessarily the decisions they made. Even though I didn't like getting some washed-up guys several years ago. That's a whole different front office. So we're getting guys on the back end of their career. Like, hey, why didn't we get them 5 years ago when they were good? But anyway.
So, Eric Lakers, good evening, and thank you for joining. Hope you come back every Sunday night it's going to be 5 o'clock on Sunday night Pacific, and then at 6 o'clock on Wednesday nights, and then 6 o'clock on Friday nights. Hope you come back for all of our live show. Coach joins us every Sunday night, Eric Lakers, so thank you so much for joining. Why is everybody avoiding Blake Snell? For one, he's older. For two, the contract's going to be a lot longer than he's going to be productive. And for three, the peripherals would say that he is due for massive regressions. Well, I say massive. That's probably a little bit too much of an overstate. But Blake Snell, if you look at the underlying numbers, same reason why they chose to move Ryan Pepio is because the underlying numbers would say that he's not a number one starter, right? Okay, there are people like me that could disagree with that, and I would have my reasons, and not necessarily a number one starter, but better than what the Dodgers fans are giving him credit for. So don't let me get misquoted on that. because of underlying numbers. But the Dodgers believe in peripherals. They believe in underlying numbers. They believe in trying to predict. Austin says this all the time. It's not about what have you already done. It's about what do we think you're going to do in the next 5 to 10 years, right? All of the numbers would suggest that Blake Snell is getting ready to be a massive overpay for whoever takes him. The Dodgers have other options, and that's why they're staying away from him. I would be shocked if he ended up being a Dodger. I know it sounds great. The Dodgers have seen him. They know he's nasty, and I think it could be good for a year or two, maybe. But I think you're talking about a contract that would be an overpay for a long time there. So I think the Dodgers are going to stay away from that, and then that's why they would stay away from that. So Phantom X TV says we want Corbin Burns or nothing. He has been pulled off the market by Milwaukee. It's hard if you're Milwaukee, again, with this wild card. I say this all the time. With the new wild card coach, you're adding more teams like the Angels last year. People are saying, well, I'll bet the Angels feel bad for not trading Shoy Otani. Well, okay, but whenever the deadline came, they were like 3 games back. Yeah, because of these new wild cards, it's harder for these GMs to trade away a Corbin Burns because you can't convince your fans that you're not a playoff team. It doesn't take much to get in the playoffs, right?
Well, they were over 500 at the time the trading deadline came up. Their front office has to say, go and look at these fans who aren't showing up anyway and say, hey, we're done. We're trading off our best player.
We can't even make this extra wild card.
That's what I'm saying.
You can't say that. Right.
Yeah, no, you don't. I don't blame their front office at all. They couldn't at that point. They're 15 games out of first. Nobody blames them. Even their fans are going to go, well, yeah, we better get something out of him while he's available. But they had a chance of making a run. It didn't happen. Again, it goes back same old thing. Everybody wants to think they know what's going to happen. You don't. Even I don't care how many athletics you got in front of you, and even on Blake Snell. Okay, maybe he does go there. What if he don't? What if it's 4 or 5 years before he goes down? And by the way, are we trying to win? We're trying to win now, aren't we? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it probably goes back to the money that he wants. But if Blake Snell's got 2 good years in him, I mean, that's kind of what we were talking about. We're trying to win today. I mean, I don't know. There's several different ways of looking at it. All I know is he's a Cy Young Award winner and he's dirty. And if you could get him, but that's and it doesn't sound like they're going to, which is fine. But again,
those are the reasons why they're not aggressively pursuing him, as far as we know.
That. But again, it's the same thing, Case. They don't know that.
Yeah,
they're
correct.
They're predicting. They're predicting.
Correct.
That's my whole point.
And all as good as of all the the predictive stats aren't that great. I mean, they just aren't. I mean,
I agree.
And people say FIP, XFIP.
I'm like
they're not all that great. They're just not.
I talked about. I think the last time I was on here with, I talked about Bob Stoops. I'm not an OU fan, but I'm a Bob Stoops fan. Somebody mentioned him by the analytics. He says, "Don't get me started. I go on my feel what I feel for the team." He said, the analytics is just for people to use when they make mistakes. That's from a highly successful football coach. It's kind of the same thing. He goes on kind of what he feels and sees, like me and you do on the high school level, and what a lot of things. I mean, you can. I get it. It's the new day and a new time, and that's all great. But what if Blake Snell has a 4 or 5 good years? You say, crap, we should have got him. Well, it's too late now, and we don't know that. And he may stay next year, and maybe they lose their whole starting rotation next year. Nobody could see that coming either. That's the thing about it. You got to make decisions based on what information you have today, in my opinion. Blake Snell's a Cy Young Award winner. I'd take him in a heartbeat, but I'm not writing the checks, and I'm not the guy, filling out the lineup card every day.
Yep. Coach, who you're looking at here, this is the newest acquisition by the Dodgers, Trey Sweeney. And actually, let me hit this because it's backwards there. Right.
I was going to ask you about him. You know more about him than I do. Yeah. I looked some stuff up on. He's a minor leaguer, right? He hasn't been a big
Double-A last year.
Left-handed hitter. Is he a switchy or is he a lefty?
Lefty, yeah. Tall
guy. What are you hearing about him? Yeah, he's a good-sized kid.
Very flat swing. Reminds me of Hunter Fiducia. And as a matter of fact, his swing. I mean, look how sweet this swing is. That's a very sweet swing, Coach.
But it's very flat. He's pretty good size.
Yeah, he's good size. Good size. So a lot of people project him maybe as a third baseman. Fringy athletic ability, fringy defensive skills. We're going to see his defense here in a minute. We're concentrating on his offense right now, and we're going to bounce back and forth between him and the comments and the free agency and trade talk. So if you're here to hear about more trade talk, free agency talk, don't go away. We're going to talk all about it, but we're going to bounce in and out with the newest prospect that the Dodgers just acquired for Yorbit Vivas and Victor Gonzalez. Trey Sweeney, what I see here, Coach, and I see a kid that can absolutely hit, no doubt about it. A great flat swing, but the ball doesn't get in the air. So it's not enough home runs for what people want out of a sized kid like that has fringy athletic ability. So as of right now, I think he squarely fits in that tweener mold. Does that make sense? Like Hunter Fiducia has a really sweet swing. He hits fastballs great, but he's not going to hit a million home runs, and then he catches, right? Yep. So I think for that type of frame, people are going to want more home runs out of him, and so it's going to be interesting to see that nobody's better than the Dodgers at adding lift to a young prospect swing, so it'll be interesting to see what they do to him.
I mean, I like that. That's a nice-looking swing. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Good-sized kid.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Several different ways of looking at it. Yeah, okay, but that's why you signed Ohtani to hit 50 home runs a year. That's why Mookie and Freddie are accidentally going to hit 30 just because they're great players. And Muncie's going to hit 30 because he swings for 80, but he'll hit at least 30. I mean –
yeah, and then Gavin will probably hit 10 or 15, and then Will
end
hit
up at 20. Yeah. Alvin will hit 20 because he's a freak. He's a great athlete. How many you need? Can you get a good defensive guy that can hit? I don't know, 300. Yeah. I don't know. I'm old case, and everybody knows that. They can tell by looking at me. But good Lord, if the kid can hit, it's great.
What do you like the swing?
Yeah, I love that swing.
Yeah.
That one there's just a routine pop-up. You got some bad defense going on out there.
He ended up with a double.
That's not the drillers, so I'll go ahead and talk about them. But anyway.
Yeah, no doubt.
I would never talk that way about our teams. But anyway. But, you can give him some lift. And, again, don't get me started on all the old launch angle and all that stuff.
I don't like adding lift to it, but I think they're going to.
Smart enough. I agree. And he's a big kid. And it may happen naturally. How old's the kid? 22? Younger?
I'm not exactly sure. I think he's in the 20. Yeah. Let me look that up.
Power. The kids don't hit 30 home runs in college very much anymore. They got a dadgum lead pipe in their hands. Usually that power comes, they get in the pros, big leaguers. That's
23.
Okay. You could add some lift on him if you want. But like I said, there's not a lot of those guys aren't hitting 50. There's no Pete Incavillas out there in college. Are hitting 48 home runs. So power. I've heard guys smarter than me saying this.
Right.
Pro guys and scouts saying, the power. Those guys they get bigger and stronger, and the power comes later on. Not a lot of guys 19 years old. Well, Bobby Witt Jr. There's some freaks out there, and Bryce Harper that were doing that stuff at 19. But for the most part, most of those big leaguers, they develop that power as they move along there. I don't think they're, if they got big time power, they're in the big leagues at 19. Yeah. They're not out there in Birmingham, Tulsa running around.
Yeah. Jason Soretti, thank you so much for joining, Jason. He says, what was the strike against Gurriel Jr.? Again, this is Trey Sweeney, one of the Dodgers. Yes, that's shortstop Trey Sweeney there. This is the Dodgers' most recent acquisition, so we're going to kind of bounce back and forth. Just wanted to make sure you knew that. As we talk about the trade talks, we're going to bounce back and forth between him and the trade talks. What was the strike against Gurriel Jr.? We had this, I think, 2 Sundays ago. He was our number one most favorite free agent outfielder, both Coach Holt and I. The problem is as we speak, here's the situation as I see it. You only have enough prospect capital either to get a pitcher or an outfielder. So if you went free agent, so they're hoping that Yamamoto would be the free agent pitcher. Then you could use all of your prospect capital to go get like a Randy Arozarena, or somebody like that is you could make a big run at an all-star type player. Gurriel Jr., I don't think the Dodgers would have had any problems picking him up. I just don't think they had the time to get down to that part of the free agency aspect to go down to a guy. You talked about those dominoes falling, and I think the Diamondbacks were very smart because they knew that they needed to sew this guy up before the Yamamoto domino fell. Because if as soon as the Yamamoto domino falls, the Dodgers are going to know which way they're going, both with the outfielder and the pitcher. And the Diamondbacks, I don't think that's a coincidence that they signed him before that went down.
I don't blame them. That tells you what they think of him too. Again, it goes back to the same thing. He's a hot commodity right now, just like their team is.
Here's Trey Sweeney's defense, by the way, Coach.
Everybody watched the World Series. He's a hot commodity. That's why we loved him. I like the way he played, but I didn't see the Diamondback games all year like a lot of people. Now he's a hot commodity. The Diamondbacks saw it too. That's a very smart move on their part.
Yeah. Paul Vaughn says Dodgers are in on a Randy Arozarena. No, there are no talks like that. I'm talking about if you wanted to go out and make it. Of course, it's been talked about the Dodgers could still make a run at somebody like that. Now, will the Rays trade him? Obviously not at this point. Just because the Dodgers didn't get him in this last trade doesn't mean they could reset and go after a different one. So it's not out of the question. I'm talking about that caliber of a type of player that, an all-star type outfielder type that you have prospect capital to go get. So I think that was the problem with Gurriel. I just don't think that I think that the Diamondbacks swooped in and picked him up before the Dodgers had a chance. Right here you can kind of see the range, Coach, the athletic ability, the arm strength.
Good arm.
Yeah, good arm. But if you look at the range there, I mean, is that shortstop range? Is that third base range? Just trying to be real, not trying to be critical or anything like that. Just as Dodgers fans, that's kind of whenever you see the scouting report, that's why you see it that way, right?
Yeah. I mean, he obviously he's a shortstop now, 23 years old, but good Lord, even Cal Ripken and A-Rod went to third base. I mean, at some point they're all going to be third basemen.
Yeah.
So, that's some of the greatest players ever lived. So, he's got the big frame. He can definitely move into that.
Yeah, Boris is Snell's agent too. Yeah, no doubt about that. I think the Dodgers will end up with Josh Hader. Paul says that. Paul, thank you so much for joining. We certainly appreciate you joining again every Sunday night at 5 o'clock Pacific, every Wednesday and Friday night. It's at 6 o'clock Pacific. So make sure and come back. Reno Sand says the Dodgers have the prospects to cut a deal with Milwaukee, but they'll want a haul for him. Rumors are that Corbin Burns is out again. This is Trey Sweeney. You just saw his offensive game. This is his defensive game. The most recent acquisition the Dodgers got for Yorbit Vivas and Victor Gonzalez. And Jonathan Williams, good evening. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining. We have the best numbers of our crowd so far we've had all night. Snell walks too many, says Jonathan. Craig says, go for Montgomery, world champion. Yep. Jordan Montgomery, I like him.
I do too.
Yep. So
he's been good everywhere he's been. I'd take him. You betcha.
So the update on Blake Trinan and J.P. Fireeisen, there's a reason why the Dodgers kept J.P. Fireeisen all last year. It was not to not use him. They were hoping that he would be available this year. That looks like it's going to happen. Blake Trinan and J.P. Fireeisen are expected to be ready for spring training. Another part of this too, Coach, I think with this Glasnow extension, I think that means Walker Buehler, this is his last year.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to keep Glasnow and Buehler. Do you think?
No.
I don't know. Am I out there?
No. I mean, I don't see how you can. No.
This is a good point from Michael Hoffer. Michael, thank you so much for joining. Last time Blake Snell won a Cy Young, he pitched 180 innings. In the next 4 years, he was 25 and 26, 385, and his high was 120 innings. This year, he won the Cy Young, pitched 180 innings. These are all of these metrics.
That's the numbers they're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, all the underlying statistics and data that the Dodgers are so good at, Coach. And I'll tell you this, they very rarely – I think they lost on the Luke Raley trade. Luke Raley had a good year for Tampa. He had several home runs, had like 14 stolen bases, had about a 250 average, OPS over 800. They traded him for Tanner Dotson, who is still – he made it to AAA but still struggling. I would think that you probably lost – the Luke Raley trade. I think you lost the Clayton Beeter trade when you went and got the outfielder that you were talking about. What was his name, Coach? The one that you wanted that you were talking about. Hold on, I'm having a brain cramp right now.
Joey Gallo.
Joey Gallo, yeah. I think you lost that trade because Clayton Beeter is going to be very good with the Yankees. Yeah. Total brain cramp right there. Sorry about that, fan. But I think you lost that trade. But by and large, the Dodgers don't lose trades. No, and this Vivas trade was more about necessity because you had to clear spots, and you needed to do it with guys that were blocked anyway. So, and I think they don't lose trades a whole lot because they have all these underlying metrical numbers that, as much as some of the older guys don't like to admit it, those numbers do work pretty well whenever you actually know how to maybe evaluate them and put them into real time. So, hey, before we go on here, Coach, defensively, what do you see here from Sweeney?
He's got good range, good arm. I mean, he got a good path to the ball. I mean, that's stuff we even talk about their high school guys, how to get in position to throw, direction to the first base or wherever the base he's throwing to. I mean, you tell he's pretty fundamentally sound.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, he certainly could end up a third baseman, but they all do. So it's not a bad thing. It's not a cut on him.
Yeah, no doubt. He and a good thing about him, Coach, that I like is that he's coming from the Yankees organization. So you know that Austin Beck is the guy that the Dodgers just picked up from Oakland. We had a question on Dodger Beck. He is a 25. He's 25 years old. He's a former first-round selection, 6th overall in the 2017 draft. And I'm going to get some numbers up on him, and we're going to talk about Austin Beck here just for a second, Coach. Give me just a second here. And he is a center fielder. A lot of speed. I'm super excited to see what he's going to bring. If you look at his numbers, 250 last year, OPS 692. He hit 9 home runs. He's hit 19 home runs in the last 2 years. OPS 692. Good defensively. So, again, just kind of outfield depth. Him and Drew Avens and Andy Pages, Ryan Ward, all those guys. Jose Ramos will probably be in AAA. Going to be really exciting to go watch those guys. Austin Beck adds to the depth.
I guess Sweeney going to be at Oklahoma City, I guess.
Sweeney, yeah, he was in AA last year. He will be the starting shortstop for AAA Oklahoma City. I don't have that confirmed, but again, you traded away Eddie's Leonard, or you didn't trade him away. You DFA'd Eddie's Leonard, and then your 2 shortstops from last year. You're talking about Bryson Brigman and Yanni Hernandez, both filed for free agency. So you don't have a AAA shortstop as of right now.
You go. Well, you do now. So
that's why you had to go get Sweeney. He will be. I just can't imagine any way that he's not the AAA shortstop every day. He was blocked in the Yankee system, no doubt about it. Austin Beck, good depth. We'll see. The Dodgers love going and getting these former first-round draft picks, because if you're a first-round draft pick, even if it was 4 or 5 years ago and it hasn't panned out, either it's an injury or it's something that the Dodgers feel like they can unlock. They're great with those kind of guys, aren't they?
Yeah, they wouldn't mention the fact that maybe they're in a bad organization. The Dodgers would never do that. Neither would I, because I don't know who they are. But sometimes you just give it the wrong organization. You can be a first-round draft pick, and you're, like I said, you're blocked for a lot of reasons. You know, the work you're getting, whatever the case may be. But I know they're not all great organizations, and I wouldn't mention anybody by name because I don't know. But
yeah,
so there's some of that too that you can put into it. Kids have been put in bad situations where they're not getting proper instruction or whatever.
Yeah,
could be.
Yep. Okay, so this is going to be our last question of the night before we're going to hop off of here, Coach. I know it's past our bedtime, so we're going to get to the last question here is, would it be a good idea to offer Buehler an extension now, since you don't know what's going to happen after this year? Walker Buehler is an extremely confident young man. He's healthy, and this is his contract year. And if I know Walker Buehler as well as I think I know him, he's going to bet on himself. I would imagine those talks have already happened. And if he was willing to accept an extension right now, that extension that the Dodgers are going to offer would be a lower offer than I think in his mind he thinks he's going to get after he has a tremendous year with the Dodgers this year in his free agency year. Plus, I'm not sure that it actually benefits the Dodgers, because if Walker Buehler pitches for the Dodgers like it is a contract year for him, you're going to get Cy Young type caliber Walker Buehler, at least from his mentality.
Well, that's great. You know, mentality. I'm just concerned about his health. You know, I mean, that's a biggie for a pitcher. I mean, you can have the mentality. I've got the mentality too, but I throw 48 miles an hour now at my age. But so, you know, I don't know. I hope they get an opportunity there, but there's got to be some concerns with the health issue in my mind. But I love the guy. I mean, but you know, the facts are the facts, so that's what they have to take into consideration.
Coach, any final thoughts before we get out of here? We had a wonderful lobby tonight and some wonderful fans with some wonderful comments. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I'm just excited about, like everybody else, about the Dodgers, and can't wait till spring training gets kicked off. And I know I'm like you. There's no doubt they're not through. There's going to be some more big time moves coming up, and seeing how they're putting it together. And they're in it to win now, and that's the way it should be. And I'm excited about that. And just want to wish all those great Dodger fans out there, like you and myself, happy holidays. I don't know that we'll see them next week or even the week after that. I know it's Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. It's whatever. It is what it is. I bet everybody else is going to be somewhere else other than looking at my ugly mug. So I'll be somewhere else. My family have to look at ugly. But anyway,
No doubt.
But I just want to wish everybody happy holidays out there. And as always, go Dodgers.
Next time you'll see me here on Dodgers Dogs will be Wednesday evening. That is at 6 o'clock Pacific, and Austin Brubaker will be joining then. So thanks to Coach Holt. Thanks to all of you wonderful Dodgers fans out there that help participate and help grow this show. We are so glad that you guys enjoy this show. This show continues to grow. And as always, go Dodgers.